Hi guys, Dawn Marie here. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing a very special video for you. It is a collaboration with Jaimie Madison and Witchtionery Crafting, Marisabel over there. So basically it is a secret stamp challenge. So we all had to choose 5 stamp sets that we liked, so that we wouldn't end up with any repeats in our stash. And each of us chose a stamp set for the other. So I chose one for Jaimie Madison. She chose one for Marisabel at Witchtionery, and Marisabel chose one for me. And I got my favorite thing, Santa and Friends. So I'm going to make a card for you with that. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp out my images. And I'm going to color them up with some Copic markers. Okay, so I'm going to let you watch the Copic coloring, and I'll meet you on the other side. All right, enjoy. There you go, some short and sweet coloring with the reds. Those reds are a bugger. They tend to bleed so much. So I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending here for you. I'm using some tumbled glass, and I'm going to use my my favorite things, cloud stencil. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm doing my blending. And I go up I'm going to make a background for the Santa and his deer. And basically it's the inside of a Polaroid film. Okay, it's a Polaroid die. And basically Santa's doing a selfie with his deer, saying hello. So I'll go ahead and I'll ink blend. Okay, so now I'm going to put a striped background, a pattern paper on the card base. I went with 5x5 card bases for these projects. It's my first 5x5s. I figured I'd try some different size cards. So I got my back panel, my pattern paper on there. I'm going to glue down my deer now onto my Polaroid. I used a Stitch Slopes and Hills die for my favorite things, and if you look at it real close, I didn't show this, but I do show it on the Santa Claus. I used the snow marker on it, so it's got texture like snow on it. So yeah, I don't know why I didn't show that, but I do show it making. I'm going to use it on the Santa Claus, on his beard and mustache, and his pom pom. So I'll go ahead and place the Santa Claus. There you go. See, I'm using the snow marker. You got to be careful with that. It comes out quick if you're not careful. It came out kind of quick for the pom-pom. But you use this and then you heat set it and it puffs up. It's really cool. But it takes a few seconds, yeah. So you can see it. I think, hopefully my hand's not in the way too much. You do get peaks here and there with it of the puffing. See, there it goes. It's puffing up. And there it is. See, look, there was too much liquid in the pom-pom, so it squirted out. Alright, so I'm going to use my Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen here now and sparkle up Santa because, you know, Christmas cards need to be super sparkly, and you know I like my sparkle. I use a ton of it as it is, so now the Christmas cards are going to really get sparkly. So I'm using some foam tape. I'm going to pop up this Polaroid panel onto my card base. And now I'm going to use my sentiment, have a holly jolly holiday, pocket right underneath Santa. And I stamped that on some Schoolhouse Red cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. So now I'm going to place a snowflake. It's from a Simply Snowflakes sentiment stamp set from My Favorite Things. I stamped that out on some vellum. I did a bunch of them. I want to put some on the other cards. You see a little peek of the deer card I have behind that. I kind of have them in reverse. I did the deers first and the Santa second, but I changed the film. The editing process. So here's a few peeks of my pictures of my card. Look, I have my Christmas decorations out now for my props for my pictures. I did 2 of them. There's the second one. I used some crystal stickles for the snow. See, the snow is all crystal stickled all on the second one, and I put it on the first one too. So now I'm using a Turnabout stamp set from Concord and 9th, a snowflake one. I'm going ahead and put it on you. Now, if you don't know anything about Turnabout stamp sets, go to the Concord and 9th. There we go. YouTube channel, and they show you how to do it. But basically, you put the packaging, you have to put an X across your stamp, you line it up with your packaging, and then you put your little square of paper on there. You can do it without, it doesn't have to be a square too. You can do it with just a regular A2 size card as well. And then you stamp it along there. So I'm using 2 different colors. I'm using, I think it's Twilight Catherine Pooler ink, and Mermaid from Lawn Fawn, I believe. That's what I have here. So I'll go ahead and I'll stamp them out, make a nice background. This is for my deer cards. So I made 2 different designs, one with the Santa and one with just the deer. And I used 2 different colors. I had already told you that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I don't know why I wiped that off. It's almost the same color. I think this is the lighter one though. I'm scatterbrained lately. Okay, so I got this all set. Stamp it a couple times. And there we go. Look how pretty that background is. I love that Turnabout stamp set. They're pretty cool. Alright, so now I'm going to do the sentiment for my deer cards. And I chose Have a Dashing Christmas. I believe that's what it is. Have a Dashing Holiday, maybe. Can't see it right here. But, yeah, I thought that went well with the deer, because the deer looks like he's dashing. Dashing through the snow, you know. I tried to make it look like he was dashing through the snow, literally. But it looks like he's kind of flying, so I kind of had them placed just above the hill. You'll see that in the next clip. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp out this sentiment with some Versamark, and I'm going to use some Simon Says Stamp white detailed embossing powder. Get that all set, and then I will go ahead and heat set it. I'm doing it twice because I actually think I do it 3 times because I did 3 cards. No, I did it twice. I did 2 cards on film and 1 I didn't do on camera. One of them I did off camera, my practice card. Okay, so I'm gonna heat set those sentiments, have them all set for my 2 cards. I'm kind of in mass production mode, you know, because I have to do a bunch of cards for my friends and family. So whenever I do a card now, I'm going to do 2 or 3 of them, maybe even 4 of them at a whack. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I ended up with 5 cards total. I did 3 of these deer ones and 2 of the Santa ones. And I variated them just a little bit. Mostly they're copies of the same card. So I'm going to trim off a little bit of the extra. I always get my sentiment crooked. Now I'm going to trim it off with my tonic trimmer. Try to get it nice and straight. Them scissors come in so handy because they'll cut a nice straight line, well, fairly straight anyway. Alright, so I cut a circle with a stitch circle die from My Favorite Things, and I cut another one, like a half circle, to use as a hill, but I also use the Slopes and Hills die on the other 2 cards. Actually, I think it's on this card right here. I'm going to put my sentiment right over the hill, or right under a hill, under the hill, in the middle of the hill. I used Tropical Teal cardstock from Gina K on this, but I'll have all my products and things I use, the supplies, listed in the description below. And I also did a blog post, so it'll also be on my blog, including the Copic colors I used. Alright, so I got my sentiment placed. Now I'll go ahead and I'll place my deer. Make him try to look like he's dashing. He looks like he's kind of flying. It's a flying deer, so what's it say? May a Christmas be dashing. That's what it is. Couldn't remember what it was. And so I show you the 2 that I just made. I have one I also made, but I did 2 on camera here. I'll put a little bit of Nouveau Aqua Shimmer pen to bling it up a little bit. Some on the antlers. Now this is where I'm stamping out the snowflakes that I used on my Santa card. I kind of reversed my clips because I wanted to show you the coloring in the beginning of the video. So I put my Santa card first instead of my deer card, when in reality I did my deer card first. So I'm going ahead and I'm using some Versamark now, and I'm using a piece of heavyweight vellum from My Favorite Things. This is heavy. It's like cardstock heavy. It's nice. It cuts really nice. It's not really delicate like a vellum is, but it's the same transparency as vellum. I like it. And when you heat emboss with it, it doesn't, you know, it's a little bit more robust, so it doesn't warp as easily as regular vellum does. So I will stamp out a couple of snowflakes. I think I stamped out 3 or 4 because I put one on each card. All 5 cards, so I stamped out 5. It doesn't show me stamping out 5 here though. It only shows me stamping out the 2 for the deer. But I did stamp some more for the Santa Claus cards too. So see, look, I barely take my heat gun off of it, and it holds up pretty well. It doesn't warp as easily as the regular vellum. So I'll go ahead and I'll put a snowflake behind the deer just for a little added interest. And I'll use a little bit of, I'm using some small foam squares, and I'm putting them, as you see, behind the embossing to hide them. Hides pretty good. Can't really see it, not unless you're looking for it, and even then I don't think you can really see it. I'll place that there, and I'll put my second one there. I'm going to use some Nouveau Aqua Shimmer pen on the snowflakes as well, make them nice and shiny. And I believe I used some on my sentiment as well. Make shine that up too. Oh, I'm using some lacquer pen from Hero Arts on the nose. It's like a glossy accent, and make their nose all nice and round and bubbly looking, like a globe, you know, like Rudolph. I painted the nose red, and I also put some aqua shimmer pen on the nose, so it's going to be a sparkly raised nose. So I'm using some snowflakes from Simon Says Stamp. It's a sequin mix, and some Pretty Pink Posh. No, maybe I didn't use any Pretty Pink Posh sparkling clear sequins. I think I did, along with the snowflakes. And I found this snowflake at the Dollar Tree. It was in my stash, so I pulled that out. But I had grabbed it at the Dollar Tree a couple months ago. And I'm going to put one of them over top of the other snowflake. I went snowflake crazy. So I'll put one. I don't put two on the card. I take it off because it's too much. And I put one right near the sentiments. I'll go ahead and glue that down with my Connect glue. I like this glue. It's nice and fluid, and it doesn't really clog up either. You have to like take the tip. It seals a little bit. You have to take the harder part that hardens it right at the tip. You got to just pop that off, and it's good to go. If you leave it open like I did, right there. You have to cover it every time you use it, otherwise it forms that little crusty thing. So here's some close-up photos. The supplies I use have been listed in the description below, and they'll also be on my blog. Leave me a comment with any questions or suggestions, or if you'd like, just say hello. I'd love to hear from you. I'll be back with a new video next week. Probably 2 videos, possibly. I hope you enjoyed today's card using the My Favorite Things, Santa and Friends, and this collaboration with Witchtionery Crafting, Marisabel, and Jaimie Madison. And if you did, why not go ahead and give it a thumbs up? Also, you could subscribe if you're not already. I would love to have your support. I typically have 2 to 3 videos out a week, new content. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye now.